Time has always been a major obstacle in the Pathologic series, but never has it been more in your face than in the upcoming third entry. In prior games, time was your opponent, forcing you to weather classic survival mechanics like hunger and thirst while chasing an ultimate objective: to prevent the town from succumbing to a deadly plague called Sand Pest and figuring out where that plague came from in the first place. Except now, those mechanics are missing, and in their place is a daunting new feature that makes that temporal unease far more literal: time travel. You play as Daniil Dankovsky, a bachelor doctor whose job it is to solve the plague that envelops his town, and he has the power to manipulate time on his side. Rather than simply taking each day as it comes, a chaotic prologue/tutorial shows you what can happen when the bachelor is left to his own devices, prison and encroaching plague. You then receive the power to go back in time to correct his decisions and give him better directions, which makes for an incredibly engrossing mechanic. Undoing deaths and learning secrets to earn trust with shifty characters makes things immediately engaging, and there's some wonderful meta-dialogue throughout that hangs a lampshade on Daniil's awareness of his powers. A symphony of systems.
Previous Pathologic games are anything but simple, but the third entry might take the cake, running headlong into the step with complexity. The system that makes itself most obvious is a sliding scale between Apathy and Mania that affects Daniil's movement speed and his heart health. If you take too long to do anything, Daniil succumbs to his depression, but if you experience too much stress, a heart attack is your reward instead. During my time, I've watched Daniil experience heart attacks due to the following: taking a punch from a rioting thug, accidentally taking strychnine instead of morphine, talking to children. Forget the plague, children are by far the biggest danger in this game. Managing your mental state becomes a satisfying balancing act, and it's a mechanic that I have a serious love-hate relationship with. There's joy to be had in pumping Daniil full of drugs and smacking mailboxes around to put him in a manic state before running at the speed of light through an infected district. But having his heart start to crap out on him because he had a bit of an awkward conversation is infuriating. In a sadly relatable way, yes, but infuriating all the same. Speaking of infected districts, it can't be left unsaid that even the simple task of navigating the town is an impressively frictious task. Infected districts are saturated with airborne plague and filled with black whirlwinds and specters that will disrupt your mood and heart instantly, and rioting districts are filled with men who will aggro on sight, necessitating the use of a gun to ward them off. This is usually okay, but does become grating if you're handling a quest that requires a lot of running around town. Each day, you're given the opportunity to issue town-wide decrees: quarantine measures, resource distributions, curfews, and more. These aren't handed to you freely. Instead, you earn them by exploring the world and completing quests, which makes each new decree feel like a development in the Bachelor's authority and understanding. Balancing infection rates against civil unrest, resource stockpiles against immediate needs, it's a strategic layer that adds tremendous weight to daily decisions.
From doctor to savior. In addition to these, Pathologic 3 includes a basic crafting system, a neat implementation of trading, and, rather than a quest log, you have a mind map that tracks all the important details you encounter in a single day. In many ways, it goes beyond a simple survival horror and dips its toes into plenty of other genres. The crown jewel of the systems, though, is the patient diagnosis mechanic. As a doctor, it is your responsibility to set up a hospital and figure out what is wrong with a handful of significant patients each day. You're given a long list of diseases and their symptoms, and there are plenty of ways to find out what's wrong with people. There's a surprisingly in-depth system of dialogues, physical and biological examinations, and sometimes detective jobs to complete and root out what's ailing the townspeople. And this is my favorite part of the game. There's no greater feeling than working out that a patient is lying to you and getting them the correct diagnosis only by going to their house to find out how they've been living. I should note that I played a preview build, and it showed. One sequence remained entirely in Russian, leaving me to fumble through not understanding a single sentence of dialogue in what looked like a pretty important moment. A key item was visible but impossible to pick up, forcing me to skip the diagnosis of one of the game's nicest patients. Performance stuttered in places too, with noticeable lag and occasional hanging despite my capable hardware. These are the rough edges one expects from a preview build though, and I'm hopeful most will be smoothed over by launch. Pathologic 3 is shaping up to be exactly what fans of the series have hoped for: uncompromising, cerebral, and utterly unique. Whether it can stick the landing remains to be seen. Our full review will go live after the game's official release.